Thank you for listening to BizPod with me, Paul.
And me, Rachel.
Our weekly business English podcast where we talk about the news, social media, and hot topics from a business point of view. You'll get a podcast and links to the articles we discuss. This way you can share your thoughts too. Join us as we discuss what's on our minds this week. So today we're talking about something a little bit different. We're talking about an interview.
Yeah, from a really great website called The Talks that has lots of interviews with lots of famous people from film, business.
Yeah, lots of famous people.
Yeah.
But this is not somebody we've interviewed. We're actually reading an interview on this website.
Yeah.
And the guy in question is a guy called Tony Wheeler.
Yeah.
I don't think many people will recognize the name Tony Wheeler or know who he is.
No, he sounds like the guy who comes to fix your plumbing problems.
Yeah, he does a little bit. I think he's Tony Wheeler is the kind of guy you meet down the pub, isn't he? He's not an Elon Musk. He's not a Bill Gates. He's not
Bezos.
Yeah, he's not a Jeff Bezos. This is a guy called Tony.
What does Tony do? Or what did Tony do?
Well, Tony was the creator, the founder of Lonely Planet.
Yeah, see, now everybody's ears are going, because everybody has at some point had a Lonely Planet book, read a Lonely Planet book, or these days browsed the Lonely Planet website, no doubt.
Yeah, or downloaded one of the ebooks that Lonely Planet produce. Yeah, but back in the 90s, I mean, I do remember we had a couple of Lonely Planet guides.
Yeah.
When we were, traveling, backpacking, and the Lonely Planet books, I suppose they were the go-to option for the independent traveller.
Mm. Yeah, we had a great one for Hungary, didn't we?
Yeah.
We went to Budapest.
Yeah, we did. I suppose nowadays people have their smartphones and the internet, and you can access lots and lots of information online anyway. But back in the 90s, well, although the internet kind of existed, there was definitely no smartphone technology.
No, you couldn't take that internet in your back pocket like you could a nice paperback book.
No. If you wanted to carry the internet around with you back in the 90s, you needed a truck for your computer.
Just for the monitor.
Yeah. No flat screen monitors in those days.
No.
I think laptops came with a separate carry case for the battery in the 1990s.
Yep. So what about Tony Wheeler then?
Well, I think he's a very interesting character. He created the idea of the travel guide, I think, but not just the travel guide for anyone, the travel guide for the independent young traveller.
But he's listed as occupation entrepreneur. Would you say travelling, writing travel books is entrepreneurial, or is it just the fact that he was the first guy who did it with the Lonely Planet?
Well, I think he was the guy who created the business of the Lonely Planet. I think he sold the business a long time ago, so he's not involved in it anymore. But he created a business, so
a brand,
a
travel brand.
Yeah, so I'd say I don't see why not.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he says, doesn't he, in the article, there are 194 countries in the world, and he's visited 147 of them.
Yeah, and I think he says somewhere in there he's been to North Korea, which is probably one of the most unhospitable and untouristy destinations I can maybe think of.
Yeah, he said everything was fake and that he was followed around everywhere. Yeah.
There was also, what's the name of that island off Australia where the Australians...
Nauru.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Okay. I don't know. I think so. Yeah, where the Australian government send all the prisoners.
Yeah, well, not prisoners. They're asylum seekers, aren't they?
Yeah.
But he calls it a prison camp.
Yeah.
Which is a strange destination for tourism, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But
do you think he's done it now? Nobody else could come up with a new form of travel reporting. Now the Lonely Planet exists, even if it's in a digital form now, that, everything's been exhausted for people writing travel information.
No, I can't believe that somebody isn't going to come up with a new. I mean, there were lots of copies of Lonely Planet. Lots of people and organizations tried to copy the idea of Lonely Planet. I think nowadays it's influencers.
Ooh.
Influencers who sort of travel to destinations and post on their social media. And I think that's where a lot of people tend to get their information about travel from nowadays.
Yeah, because you
So
want to
that's
see it.
very different.
But would you say those influencers are entrepreneurs?
That's not the word I would use for them, to be honest.
You not got a very high opinion of influencers, have you, Paul?
It depends who they're trying to influence and what the reasons are, I suppose.
Not you. Okay.
Well, let's talk about one of the interesting things in the article is about traveling or the difficulty traveling to lesser known places. Because I think he says that, Barcelona, Amsterdam, Venice, these are places where there are too many tourists.
Like in Venice, they're trying to limit it now, aren't they? There's a tourist tax.
Yeah.
Entry tax.
Yeah. The island of Bali, which is a beautiful exotic place, but it's overrun by tourists. Yeah. Whereas he talks about places like Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, yeah, where there are very few tourists.
Yeah. He said Pakistan, there's no tourists whatsoever, but he says it's entirely their fault.
Yeah, yeah.
What does he mean there? I want to know more about that.
No, well, he says in the article it's the fault of Pakistan because they basically chase the tourists away by making it impossible and really inhospitable to go there.
But what about the Marigold Hotel in India, where old people in the UK, famous old people, went to India to see if it was possible for them to retire there? And they were absolutely, all of them, they fell in love with the country, the culture. Some of them travelled into Pakistan as well. So not just India alone.
Yeah, well, they travelled quite extensively for that TV show. But there was also the movie. I don't know which came first, the movie or the TV show.
I don't know.
But the movie was called The Best
Exotic Marigold Hotel.
Yeah, The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. And the TV show was called
The Real.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
They all went to yoga classes to tested the healthcare system. And
yeah. But he talks about, Thailand being a popular destination, very, very small country. India, huge country, and it's not a very popular destination for tourists. And I wonder why, because we have a big relationship with the Indian subcontinent from the days of empire, I suppose, when we owned India.
Invaded.
Okay, invaded, yeah.
Tried to colonize, yeah. Good and bad history that every country has.
Yeah. But I think India would be a really interesting destination. That's my bucket list, I think. Yeah. India is on my bucket list for a destination to go to.
And I want to go to China. I want to see the mix of the history and the modern and the craziness of Shanghai.
Yeah, I think it'd be great. I mean, India and China are the two most populated countries in the world now. India is slowly becoming more populated than China. I mean, London, I think, has a population of 10 million people.
Does it?
Yeah, something like 10 million in London. But you go to like Shanghai or maybe Mumbai, the big cities in Asia, and there's 25, 30 million people.
Really?
In a city.
Wow.
They're called mega cities.
See, but you go to London, and I would argue that most of the population in London is not of original English British origin. It's a very international hub.
Yeah.
Is it like that when you go to Shanghai? Is it like that when you go to Mumbai?
I don't know. We'll have to go and find out.
Yeah, we will.
Well, Lonely Planet, I think he says it's all about traveling on the cheap.
Yeah.
Now, when we were young, I think we used to go backpacking, traveling on coaches, traveling on the cheap.
We went from Manchester to Budapest by coach, Eurolines, and I remember when we bought the tickets, it was £60 return, and we went with one rucksack between us, and it took about 3 days, didn't it?
No, it didn't take 3 days.
Oh, it did. And every time the bus stopped, because the guy was Czechoslovakian, he didn't speak English, he gave an announcement. We didn't know whether we'd got 5 minutes or an hour. And we
Yeah.
were just sort of hanging around the bus because we didn't want it to go without us.
What we did, we'd get off the bus, we'd run to the toilet quickly, we'd run and get a coffee quickly, and then run back to the bus and hope it was still there. Yeah.
Do you remember when the Australian girl got chucked off the bus because she hadn't got the right visa at the border?
Yeah. Those were the days when you had to travel with your passport through Europe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Not like today.
And different currencies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those are the days.
I don't think you would want to travel on the cheap anymore, Rachel. I think you like your luxury nowadays.
My hairdryer. My manicure repair kit.
Yeah, so I think traveling on the cheap and staying in like a hostel is probably not on your bucket list to do anymore.
But how come I don't get any business trips? How come I don't get any 5-star hotel experiences still?
I don't know. Well, that should be on your bucket list. Let's go to somewhere and stay in a 5-star hotel. Let's make it India and a 5-star hotel.
But can we take the dog?
No.
No. Okay,
so we'll have to put the dog up in a hotel of his own for a couple of weeks.
Fair enough. Okay, I think Brinkley will like that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he will. Yeah.
All right, but so all in all, Tony Wheeler, an interesting life, an interesting job.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to know what he's done after Lonely Planet. Has he started any other businesses? I don't know.
No. Well, I know he was born in 1946, so he's going to be about 78 now. He probably retired quite a long time ago.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't blame him. He probably made lots of money from Lonely Planet and then was just able to sort of sit back and relax for a little bit. He says he doesn't travel on a budget anymore.
Yeah.
He travels, I think he says
interesting hotels.
He was in New York and he likes to stay in interesting hotels.
Yeah.
Now, someone says an interesting hotel. That says to me expensive. It's not like a travel lodge.
Well, we will share the article with everybody and the website. There are lots and lots of really interesting people in there. Art, business, fashion, film, food, literature, music and sport.
Yeah.
And they've all got fantastic interviews, famous people like Al Pacino, I'm just having a look, Amy Schumer, Anthony Hopkins. Yeah.
And Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch is on there. Bill Nighy.
Yeah. Bill Murray. Wow. So they've interviewed quite a lot of people.
Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
I know. They're really interesting, some of them as well.
Yeah. I think we should also share the link to the Lonely Planet website in case anyone wants to download an ebook.
Absolutely. And if you've been anywhere interesting recently, come on, share it. Tell us your experience. Tell us what you thought. Yeah, especially if you've been to either India or China.
Yeah.
We want to know.
Definitely. Okay.
All right.
See you next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. We hope you liked our podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe and stay connected with us. Until next time, goodbye.